This is CAF Television. Welcome everybody. Alex Bastiavansky here in the CAF studio, and something a little different this week. Interview segments for them actually, and two of them are going to be with Brampton City United. That's coming up later on, but first we're starting things off with MUFC, and it would be the head coach Mark Griffin of the Under-16 boys. Welcome.
Thanks very much.
To the studio. Yep. Glad you fought the traffic to get in here. And
it wasn't too bad.
Wasn't too bad. Good stuff. We are in the middle of the day here, so it can get bad sometimes. But we're going to have a little chat about MUFC. And in the second segment, we'll cover some of the big players that have gone on to some big places over in Europe. But first, we're just going to start off with the program. Yep. Obviously, based out of Milton. My spidey senses told me that. But aside from that, just tell us about the program and what it's based on exactly.
Well, it was about 12 to 14 months ago. Myself, Clement Charles, who's also a head coach, sat down, had some conversations with Miles O'Connor, who was heavily involved with Milton at the time, and decided that our soccer philosophies were very similar. Trying to do something maybe out of the norm. So basically, we sat down, had a little chat about it, and realized just exactly how we wanted to run this program and set it up and build the foundations, and we took it off from there.
What was the philosophy that you guys found had in common?
We tried to do something more European academy-based philosophy. We didn't want to try to recreate the wheel, but we did know that it's working over there, and some of our boys, like you've mentioned, have gone on to those programs. So we've looked, and we've tried to mirror it here. Right. So the philosophy is very, very much player-focused, player-centric.
Right. Yeah. And why CAF? What appealed to you about CAF?
Well, CAF is, we obviously have the connections through Phil, and it's a fantastic program. We feel that CAF would give us that platform for us to be able to put our philosophies and our coaching methodology in practice together with CAF to give us that platform to be able to bridge that gap to get these boys to that higher level.
Right. And for people who want to find out about your training regimen and stuff, what is it with MUFC? What can people expect if they come to the program in terms of training and coaching and such?
We're training 3 nights a week. We have typical turf or grass fields in the summer, turf in the winter. Indoors, we train for usually an hour and a half per segment, and it's just obviously focusing on technical side of things. But we're also this year coming into 16. Starting to focus on the university side of things and the educational point of views, right? It's what we need to do. So we have an HPS program as well on a Friday night, which is high performance. And then we always have the possibility, and this is something that we just started doing, is the tutorage values with the kids, because we understand that at 16, school is a big factor. Right. They got to keep their studies, and obviously the education has to be there. So that would be the opportunity with communication between mom and dad in the school and ourselves, and saying, hey, we train this night, or we study this night.
And of course,
right?
SATs are going to be very important as well for a lot of the players who are definitely going to be getting attention from American schools. Yeah. High-end players on this team. Age groups, age ranges right now, is it just the one team, just the boys for now?
It's just the O2s, but in the environment that we've started creating, with some of the connections that we do have with overseas academies, we have started pulling some of the younger ones that have come with us too. So,
right. Yeah. The Under-16 team has been one of the top teams in the Super Group this year. And up near the top of the standings pretty much the entire season. Wanted to get your analysis on the, well, first of all, how the team has actually done this year.
Yeah, we're very proud of the boys. I mean, for a group of boys coming from different, clubs, backgrounds. We had a lot of boys come from Oakville, a few boys coming from Mississauga, a big majority of the boys still, acquired from Milton. And amalgamating them together, not just obviously we want to see them do well and accomplish themselves well, but also as individuals where we can push these boys. We're really, really pleased. They've come to CAF, they've showed well. Us being a U15 and O2 team to play in the U16 environment, we were really, really pleased with the outcome.
Right. What about the level of competition you guys have been facing?
Very good. Yeah, very, very good. We had some unbelievable matches, like Niagara, and Bree, Lions, obviously, a fantastic club and an outfit. So we're really, pleased for our boys to be able to play at that highest level against that highest competition. Right.
Well, we got about 35 seconds. When we come back, we're going to talk about one player. We're going to get a head start on this, though. Just real quick, the first guy was Giordano Mancini, a guy who played for Mississauga United last year. moved to Milton this year. He's been an absolute revelation. I mean, we knew about him last year, but with 20 seconds left, just give us the name of the club, and then we'll tease them with that and come back in the next segment. But where is he right now? Where did he go to?
He's back in Greece. I'm not going to do the club justice by trying to pronounce it, but he is in Greece, and he's back there for a second year now. So he's doing phenomenal there.
Beautiful, and we're going to talk about Giordano and other players when we come back in just a second. More CAF TV coming back. Welcome back to CAF Television. I continue to be joined by Milton United FC head coach Mark Griffin, and we started to talk about Giordano Mancini in the last segment, and I'm going to brutalize the name. He didn't want to do it. I'll do it because I've been doing it all year. It's Seville, which is a club in Greece, but they are affiliated with Sevilla in Spain. Yeah. So quite the story there. He's went over a bit last year, and now he's back over again this year as well. Lighting it up. I mean, just talk about Giordano because we've got lots of highlights.
Yeah, no, Giordano is absolute raw talent. Like, he's just unbelievable. You know, he comes back in the summertime to play with us. He played quite a few games with us in CAF, as you'll see from the highlights. I mean, he is the real deal. This boy will definitely go on to amazing things with the game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of your top scorers this year for sure. Yeah. You know, like, break down his game. Just talk about it a little bit more in depth and what it is he brings.
Yeah, it is. You know, if you'd have seen him where he is now from where he was 3 years ago, and Miles had a huge part in this, working with him and developing his game, just giving him those little, you know, bits of information that he needs to try to critique himself, become a 2D player to a 3D. And, you know, what he's got in his arsenal for weapons, he's got pace, power, speed, you know, accuracy, but his undesirable commitment to just go and win every single ball. And you'll see from some of the footage, some of the goals he scored, he had no business even getting there. You know, it's just unbelievable to watch. So we're really proud of him.
Another player who's advanced to Europe, and this is a guy we've been watching in CAF for the last 3 seasons now, Joey D'Agostino, who a couple of years ago was with Epic. Now he was with Milton this year. He scored some crackerjack goals this year, just some unbelievable shots. But this kid has got it all as well. He's with Hercules. In Spain. And just, you know, you tell us about Joey and what he brings.
Joey's just another phenomenal talent. He's just one of those boys, the quintessential talent. He's got everything that you would want in a football player. But most importantly, he's got the backing of his family. Like, what they've done for him, same with Giordano's family, is it's unbelievable amount of commitment they've put into their boy. And that's what's making a difference for these guys being able to go there.
Yeah. Matthew Di Michele is a guy we saw score some pretty big goals this year. Matthew's one. Justin Pulaski's another. We can name a bunch. But Matthew, just talk about him and what he's brought.
Yeah, I've known Matthew since he was 7. I've coached him. I've had the honor of being around him, his family. They're lovely people. Matthew's one of those boys that strives to be better all the time, every time. You know, quite often he'll come to me after games, you know, before games, halftime, kind of saying, Coach, you know, what more can I do? What more can I get out of this and stretch it? So his desire to succeed shows in the game when he scores the goals he does.
Just scoring overall hasn't been a problem for you guys this year, has it?
No, we've got quite a few.
Not with weapons like that on this team. You know, Miles O'Connor, one of the head coaches of the, actually the technical director of the program, very well-respected coach.
Yes, he is.
And former professional player who's played around the GTA. And he's, as you mentioned, one of the guys who started the program along with yourself. But I noticed David Velostagi as well, who's a pro player as well, who's on it. And David, of course, just made his debut, as the entire team did, the Canadian National Arena team, the previous Sunday against Mexico. And I was going to ask you if you got to go see David play. Of course, David couldn't play, could he? The game.
No, I think he went over on his ankle in a previous training session, but you know,
amazing honor.
Yeah, unbelievable. And you know, David's a fantastic player, but he's a great guy. He spends a lot of time with our boys on the field. Same with Rob Steelo, same with Mo. Babuli. These are all the kind of guys that we have in our program that on a regular, daily, weekly basis are working with these boys individually and collectively as a team. So it was a big honor to see David yesterday.
You guys were there. The team was there actually watching him. and watching the game. You took it all in at the Hershey Center. What did you guys think?
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, what a great outing. I mean, first, arena soccer game in the Mississauga area. I think the boys did themselves proud, to go down kind of to the score line that it was at halftime, but then to see them just kind of turning things in that last quarter, it was fantastic. So it's just up and up from here with them.
It was, we were having a little chuckle before the show because the difference between from the start of the game to the end, Mexico of course, is Mexico. They are a football nation first and foremost, but they also know the arena game very well. They've got 2 professional teams already in the MASL, and we're not getting our first team in Toronto until next fall. But you could see the little nuances they knew at the beginning of the game. They knew how to play the boards. They knew how to play the glass. But what really impressed you was in the second half, especially that last quarter, but the last third of the game, I would say, just how our boys picked it up and learned the game. Wasn't it amazing?
Absolutely, yeah. And you just seen the little touches coming from them, just the tiny little things about how to use the boards and use the body on the boards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the boys really started coming into the game. You could see that, the nerves were there for the first little bit, but then they started to relax down. Obviously, and time's going to tell. So the next match, they'll probably get better and better and better.
And the boys loved it, huh?
Oh, what an atmosphere. It was unbelievable.
That's what it's all about. Thank you for taking the time to come in.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to seeing you back on the pitch.
Yeah.
And or CAF TV coming up. Come on. Welcome back to CAF Television. From Milton United, we move now to Brampton City United. And special guest Loretto Ceccarelli, welcome.
Thank you.
To the studio. Second time we've had Brampton in here this year, but Brampton City's got some pretty good player news that we're going to get to in just a moment. But first, we're going to start off with having a little chat about probably, it wasn't a win, but your best game of the year so far, I think we could pretty much say. And that was the game against CAQ.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago, the reigning provincial champions, you guys brought it. You pushed them to the limit, and really, you could have won that game. But obviously, you guys were pretty happy with your performance. Just talk about that game first.
That was a great game. They came out, they went out to play. They were following instructions that we were giving them. They were going at the players, passing the ball, the good old 1-2s. It was a great little game on how they performed.
Yeah. And after the game, I kind of heard Coach Juan Barreto's little talk he had with the players. And, what I liked was he was stressing the importance of playing every game as if you're playing the champs. Because the general, gist of it being that obviously the talent is there on this team. And we're going to talk about some of the talent on this team. But it's raising that level of play every game, whether you're playing the bottom team or the top team. So just talk about that and the focus of the team this year and where it should have been as opposed to where it was maybe.
Yeah, Coach Juan's philosophy is go out and play your best game every single time, as if you're playing the champs, like you said. The focus was on working as a system, working as a unit, moving together as a unit. If that doesn't work, everything falls apart. The beginning of the year, like you said, it was a little off, but near the end of the year, as you saw, they're working together. Coach Juan's philosophy on working as hard as you can every single time paid out near the end.
Was there any specific strategy he had for the CAQ game? Putting him on the spot here.
There's a lot of strategies that Coach Juan's have, of course. You know what? Focus on getting to the ball. Focus on ensuring you're covering, and focus on your positioning. If we can get the positioning down right, we're up there.
You're aces.
Yeah,
because CAQ is a team that'll burn you real fast.
Especially with positioning.
And it was that game. 2017 outdoor season coming to a close for CAF for you guys. Time to just take a quick little look back and your thoughts on the way the under-13 season panned out for you guys.
In the beginning of the season, we had higher hopes that they were going to be performing a lot better than what they did. It started off a little rough, but as we focused our training, focused the players, focused the way we believe in the Brampton City United system, it ended up panning out. They started getting better. We had a few injuries, unfortunately, through the year, which helps. Doesn't help, sorry.
Yeah.
The system worked, and it's getting there. And now we've reached to the level where CAQ has difficulty.
Exactly. There was a game back in August, which we've got to talk about because I have to bring it up because as I mentioned when we did the highlights, back in August on this, it was a game that alternately had himself and Coach Juan elated and at the same time pulling their hair out, and that was the game against Burlington, which is one of the more entertaining games I've ever seen from a highlights perspective. Of course, 18 goals scored, but you managed to score 8, and you gave up 10.
Yes.
So a 10-8 game, which ended up being a loss, but very entertaining for the fans, but sort of the best and the worst at the same time for you guys, I guess, wasn't it? Just talk a bit about that game and what went down.
That game was a great start. The first, I think, 5-6 minutes, we ended up getting 3 goals.
Absolutely.
Okay. And once we were on that high, they just pushed. And then afterwards, Burlington, of course, being the team that they are, they kept on pushing back. And we started going back and forth, goals up, going down. It was, like you said, a lot of highs, a lot of frustration on letting those goals in.
Were they just not adapting? Because at some point, I'm sure you, yourself and Juan are saying, guys, they're doing this, let's tighten up. Was it just not being absorbed that day?
It looks like both teams were just concentrating on going forward instead of defending.
Yep.
They just wanted to score. And they did. Of course, they scored.
Yes.
10-8.
Did they ever? Of course. So aside from the Burlington game, we're going to look at the positives and the negatives. We got just about 50 seconds here. We're going to continue in the next segment. Positives and negatives for the year. I'm going to assume that one of the negatives is the goals allowed, 45 goals allowed, which was actually the most in the league this year in the Super Group. Just give us a couple positives, couple negatives. We've only got 35 seconds. We can continue in the next segment, but just give me one or two.
Be quick. Defensively, we've had a problem with our systems, and because of that, the goalies can only do so much. So we've tried improving our system. We've changed our system of play near the end of the season, and it looks like it started.
Yeah.
So that's what we're concentrating on now, is tightening up that system and moving it forward.
As we move into the winter season, which we're going to get to when we come back in the next segment, more with Brampton City United and more CAF Television coming up in just a minute. Welcome back to CAF Television. I continue to be joined by one of the Brampton City United coaches, Loretto Ceccarelli. And we mentioned in the last segment, we've got some exciting news about, player news in general for City, but one in particular that's extremely exciting.
Yes.
Dealing with the mountain man, as I like to call him, Andy Lamontagne. I'm going to let you take it away and tell us what's going on with Andy.
Andy recently returned from the Madrid Cup, playing on the PSG Academy team in Spain.
And what's the story behind how that happened in the first place?
He went for a tryout in Montreal.
Okay.
They accepted him. They tried as much as they could, the parents, to bring him, because the practice were in Montreal. Unfortunately, just couldn't continue. Okay. But they were short players for the Madrid Cup. So after that, they called him up, and he went in, and he played every game except for one.
Wow.
Because of an injury. He was there. He was the starting player on that team.
Amazing. And now he's back?
Oh, he's back. He's back with us, yes.
He's back.
Continue training for this winter, because next spring he has another possible tryout.
Unbelievable.
So,
well, we've watched him all season long. He's given us some great highlights. This is a player you've known for
since he was 8.
Since he was 8 years old.
Yeah.
You can break down his game for us as good as anyone. Then tell us about Andy.
He's one of the most dedicated players I've seen. He practices at home. He continues on learning the tricks, all the plays. He is just constantly working hard.
Yeah.
His focus has been phenomenal. So he has so much potential. I don't see where the end is.
Right.
So
this is a player obviously we're gonna keep. Brampton Guardian, by the way, just did a nice article on him as well. Yep. So you can check that out. A couple other players we're going to touch on. One of them is someone you know reasonably well, which would be your son Roman.
Oh, yes.
The goalkeeper. How can we describe Roman? Not lacking in confidence.
No, that's one thing for sure he doesn't lack.
Great sense of humor, and I'm not just saying this because Loretto's here. For me, I thought he was the MVP of the team this year because, as we mentioned, he faced a lot of shots this year.
Yes.
And some of the saves he made, I mean, he had our play of the week a couple of weeks ago. I think he got number one a couple of weeks this year. What a great young player. Just, I mean, obviously, you want to break down anyone's game, it would be his. You know him the best. But talk about him and how his goalkeeping game has come along.
He's been a keeper since he was 5. He's always wanted that position. We've tried pushing him out, but he always ends up going back there. His play has improved. We keep on trying to put more training on him. He keeps on focusing. He understands the game. He understands the physicality of the game. The only thing truly lacking to put him up here is a little bit of the fitness, which we're working on this winter.
Right.
And he's going to, what I've been told by other coaches, not by me, because I try not to coach my son. What I've been told by the coaches, he can actually go somewhere. So we'll see.
And I accidentally mixed him up with Samuel McPherson, who's the other goaltender. Their numbers one time, and I heard it from Roman's mom. That wasn't no, she was actually really nice about it, but I never made that mistake again. Aiden Johnson, another absolute standout on the team, and he was giving CAQ fits. He was giving OTS fits a couple weeks ago as well. Talk about Aiden.
Aiden, I've known him since he was 4. And even back then, his physical ability, his mannerism on the field, never stops. Now adding that speed that he has with him and the technical, again, another player we're working with through the winter to try and get him ready for his future.
Right.
Because he has a lot he can do.
Some big goals for him
Yes.
this year he managed. I just want to touch on Coach Juan before we leave. We've got just under a minute and a half here. Just a very, very well-respected coach across from across the GTA. Colombian, isn't he?
Yes.
A Colombian background. And he's coached professionally here, and now the academy is his baby. He does a great job with it. One of the things I really like about Juan is that, is he a stern taskmaster? Yes, he is. Yes. But he is so incredibly supportive and nurturing with these kids, and the kids love playing for him, obviously, as well. Just talk about Juan and what he's like as a coach, because you've worked with him for years.
Yeah. Coach Juan's philosophy, I think, is the philosophy that everybody should work with. He's always said, if you lose the game, that's fine. As long as you've worked hard and you play like you're supposed to play, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Constantly pushing the players. He just expects them to move further and further, and he's pushing them as hard as he can to get to that spot.
Right.
His coaching style, I've coached with a lot of coaches, and I respect him the most. That's why I'm here, because I'm not gonna, it's the best thing ever.
Good words about Juan. BramptonCityUnitedFC.com if you'd like to find out more about the program and keep up to date with wintertime. We don't have time to discuss it, but of course, indoors next for you guys, simply doing it all through the winter. So, Loretto, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a great off season.
Thank you.
That's all the time we've got for this week. Of course, CAFsoccer.com to find out everything about the Canadian Academy of Football, and all the social media stuff is there for you as well. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next week for more CAF TV.